People love gossiping. This is their inherent nature. They love talking nonsense about another person. About Shri Krishna, never ever speak bad about him. You have to discuss his glories. If you are coming together, that is not a gossip session. What happened with your husband? What happened with your wife? What happened with your children? What happened here? What happened there? Are you discussing this kind of a thing? Or are you supposed to talk about the glories of Krishna? With their minds fixed on me. See the words. The minds have to be fixed on Krishna only. Discuss about his stories. Don't discuss about your gossipy, nature. This is not something which a person should do. Why is it mentioned that you have to be in the company of the holy? When you are in the company of the holy, the one thing that you do is talk about the Lord only. If you are discussing about somebody's nature and somebody did like this and somebody did like that. We are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 verse 8. I am the source of all creation and everything in the world moves because of me. Knowing thus, the wise full of devotion constantly worship me. The whole universe, every small particle, everything has emanated from Sri Krishna only. Alright? Now, you may say, if everything has emanated from this goodness, from Sri Krishna itself, how can bad things happen? Isn't that how a person will think? Okay, Sri Krishna is the epitome of greatness and goodness. Now, if everything in this creation has come from him, why is it that some people are bad, some people are devilish, some people are demonic, and some people, very few, are wise and good? Very few. Well, let me give you an understanding. When something comes from a place, people think that they carry the DNA of that object. The DNA is the same. That means the genetic structure may be the same. But can you say the mind is the same? Not at all. The mind is different. It is created by that individual with their nature. The nature defines the mind. If a person is deprived in the beginning of life, deprived means what? They have been adopted, something has happened to them. You know the kind of things that keep on happening. Somebody is gone through a very, very traumatic childhood. We say these words, traumatic childhood. The parentage is not good. This is not good. Something or the other. The child is deprived. Now, as they pass on and they become bigger, that means when they grow up in their life, what happens to them? Every time when they are in that space, they are getting covered by Maya. The Maya is responsible for delineating how their life is. So what their mind does, their mind thinks, okay, this is how I have been treated. I will treat the world like this. Did you understand? So if somebody misbehaves with you, you also want to misbehave. If somebody does bad to you, you want to do bad to the world. Why? Why is this the nature? Yesterday we were discussing about this question, and the question was raised. Why is it that man can never change? Suppose a person is told, do this. And the person will say, yes, 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 I am doing. But they will not do. Let us say I give you a very simple exercise. Every day you have to read at least 2 verses or 1 page of a scripture. Now let us say you are saying, I have told you, you should do it with me so that I can keep watch on you. Now this is an instruction. The person will do it in the first 2-3 days. Yes, yes, yes. Guruji, I will do. Guruji, I will do. But after the 3rd day, they will say, oh, today I have got a terrible headache. The next day after that, they will say, we had gone out the whole day, By the time it came, we were very late, so I couldn't do. And then some other reason, and then some other reason, and then some other reason. And then these reasons keep on piling up. And when these reasons keep on piling up, what happens? The instructions have gone out of the window. Then the question arises, why is the person not able to do? Ramakrishna Paramahansa asked the same question to his own guru. The question was, why is it that you are washing this vessel every day in the morning? His guru Totapuri, he had one Kamandalu. Kamandalu is called the water pot. So he would take the water pot near the Ganga. The Ganga was just a few feet away. And every day he will keep on polishing it for half an hour. He will take the sands from that place and he will polish it very nicely and keep it washing in the water. So every day Ramakrishna Paramahansa would look at Totapuri and say, why are you doing this? Is it important that you have to wash every day? And Totapuri said to him, if I give 1 day rest and I don't wash the water pot, it will gather a lot of dirt on it. That is the nature of Maya. Your mind gets affected even in that 1 day concession that you do. Think about it like this. You decide that you are going for yoga classes, or you decide that you are going for meditation, you're going to the gym, or you're going for a walk. Every day I will go, every day I will go, every day. You say this very vehemently. A few days you go and after that 1 day you give a gap. That 1 day gap is like not washing the water pot. You will never get back what you have lost. You can never become the same person because you have started making concessions to yourself. The universe doesn't work like that. The sun cannot take 1 day holiday. The moon cannot take 1 day holiday. The weather, air, everything, all the nature cannot take a holiday. And you have the idea that you want a holiday. You have started making concessions. So if you are already a person who is given to making concessions from childhood, do you really believe that you can become somebody great? So you are not going to be a wise person because you have started making concessions. To know Shri Krishna, see, here he says, if you really want to know me, then you have to be having a single pointed devotion to me and no exceptions to it. You cannot have any other person in your life. So, your devotion has to be one only, to me. And you have to see me in everybody. Can you talk bad language with others? Sometimes people say, Guruji, I speak only with you like this. I will ask you a question. There is a king of England. He had his mother till a few months back. And imagine as a child, 10 years, 12 years or 15 years old child, say, yo mom, how are you mom? Do this mom. I want this mom. Do you think you expect Prince Charles to talk like this to his mother? Queen Elizabeth II. Do you really think he should talk like this to her? There is no respect if you don't talk to her properly. You have to address her even in private in a very, very beautiful manner. The way it suits a king. You cannot talk to her as if she is your mother. So, if you can imagine how this works, you have to practice this devotion very, very single-pointedly. It is only when you practice this devotion single-pointedly. You cannot call Krishna, hey Krishna, how are you man? I am talking to you in private. No. How can you talk to Krishna in private like this? No, you are standing in front of his image and you are saying, Krishna, you know what? That is not the way. Have a little respect. Then you will be seen a person due for respect. Then you can be designated as Prince Charles. Then you are suitable for the role of a queen or a king. But if you have already decided that, okay, I can talk like this in private, then you are not suitable for the king's job. It is called practice. You have to practice. And there isn't a single day when you can leave this practice. So, constantly worship me. Do you think these words are kept just like that? Constantly worshipping me means what? Even in the worst case scenario, you have to worship me. I may literally tear you like this. I may turn you inside out. It is I have to see whether you are suitable to be near me. If you are capable of handling the worst case scenario, where you are under tremendous pressure, you cannot lose your cool and say whatever that comes to your mind. So, thus knowing me, only when you can do this will you know me. Because remember, the whole universe has come from me, but it is covered by Maya. Maya is, like I gave you the example, what happened in the childhood, what happened in your life, what happened, everything down the line. That should not be tainting your good nature. To be with Krishna, you have to be really, really very, very good. You have to be your good self, even otherwise. Got it? We are doing Bhagavad Gita chapter 10 verse 9. With their minds fixed on me and their lives surrendered to me, conversing and enlightening one another about my glories, my devotees ever remain contented and take delight in me. This is a very peculiar line. Now let us say there are devotees of Krishna. Alright? There are 3-4 devotees of Krishna gathered together. On one side we have 4 devotees of Krishna. On the other side we have 4 cronies. You understand cronies? Coterie of a CEO of a company. These 2 examples I will give you. On one side, Krishna's devotees, 4 of them are together. And on this side, we have 4 guys who are the inner group of the super boss of a company, a CEO. Now let us see how the people who are the CEOs, lackeys, how they talk. Boss is like this, He went away like that, He did this. You know what he does? He takes the company car and he goes away. So they gossip amongst each other, talking bad about their own boss. Nobody knows, he's like this. There's a lot of gossip going on amongst these 4 or 5 people who are connected to the CEO of the company, and they love gossiping. Are they doing justice to their role, or are they talking nonsense? Think about it. If there is Narendra Modi, who is the super boss, and there are 4 ministers of his who are meeting together, and they start speaking ill about their own boss, how does that work? Naturally, it is not correct. So now let us take 4 devotees of Krishna. They are discussing Krishna amongst each other. Yesterday I saw Krishna is doing like this. He was going around with this gopi and he went with her to the jungle, and I don't know what happened. It's called insinuating something. First and foremost, never speak ill about the dear Lord, even in your dreams, to anybody. You do not know exactly how he works. So then why are you gossiping about him? Do you think he is a CEO of some company? And that is why this verse is important. With their minds fixed on me and their lives surrendered to me, conversing and enlightening one another about my glories. It is the glories which have to be always discussed, not gossiped about. People love gossiping. This is their inherent nature. They love talking nonsense about another person. About Shri Krishna, never ever speak bad about him. You have to discuss his glories. If you are coming together, that is not a gossip session. What happened with your husband? What happened with your wife? What happened with your children? What happened here? What happened there? Are you discussing this kind of a thing? Or are you supposed to talk about the glories of Krishna? With their minds fixed on me. See the words. The minds have to be fixed on Krishna only. Discuss about his stories. Don't discuss about your gossipy, nature. This is not something which a person should do. Why is it mentioned that you have to be in the company of the holy? When you are in the company of the holy, the one thing that you do is talk about the Lord only. If you are discussing about somebody's nature and somebody did like this and somebody did like that, that is not a done thing. So Sri Krishna is very clear over here. With their minds fixed on me. A person should fix his mind on me alone. That's it. And don't talk about anything else. Their lives surrendered to me. I want you to think about this. If there is a couple, if there is a lady or a man, and this man has a spouse, or this person has a spouse, and when they meet another devotee of Krishna, they are discussing about their spouse, their children, their this, their life, their money, their matters related to each other. Have you surrendered to the Lord, or have you surrendered to your spouse and your children? Isn't it very clear over here? If you are discussing about the weather, your children, your spouse, this is going there, that is going there, this is happening, that is happening. When that kind of a discussion comes about, then you are not discussing anything about the Lord. So if your mind is fixed on me, I am telling you a story about how Krishna is describing his dearest devotee. His dearest devotee has to be described like this. The rest are not devotees. Rest are just outsiders, they are outside the circle. Well, that reminds me, why does this figure 108 come into the picture? There is a figure, no? 108. When you have those jap mala, there is 108 figure. And then there are two beads at the end. They are one on top of each other. One below, one other top. And the whole string is like this, and there are beads, 108 beads like this. Do you know what is the meaning of that? I will tell you. Why 108? The two beads that are there, they are called the Meru, the highest peak point. They are literally on top of each other, 1, 2 on top of each other. That is called Radha and Krishna. Radha and Krishna. The figure 8, or we call Ashtalakshmis, or 8. The 8 are called the principal devotees of Krishna. They are Lalita, Vishaka, Lakshmana, and so on and so forth. So these are there. So these are principal 8 devotees. And then there are 100. So now if you want to see how the entire thing looks like, I want you to visualize it in your own mind. So right in the center, at the center of a circle, there is Shri Krishna and Radha. They are playing Ras Leela. Okay? Center. Around them are 8 gopis in a circle, in first concentric circle. There are 8 of them with every individual gopi, there is a Krishna with them. So 8 is right round. The next circle is 100. 100. The next circle after that is 1000. Beyond that is 10,000, and beyond that is quite a lot, big figure. So we are only bothered about the 8 and the 100. If you are in a nth circle means very far away removed as a devotee. Maybe you are in the 200th circle, where there are a billion gopis playing with each other. How much would you like to be in the first circle? What is your desire? Do you want to be in the first circle? Yes. The answer is, it is called Samipya, closer to Krishna. It is not easy. The devotee of Krishna always wants to be close to Krishna. And now I want you to think about it. When this Ras Leela is happening in your life, have you surrendered to Krishna? Are you thinking about him alone? Or are you thinking about your family, your dear ones, your this, your that, your job? So when you discuss amongst each other about all these nonsensical things about the material world, then Krishna can never be with you. Then you are in the nth circle, somewhere far away. Then you are a petty human being. And even the person whom you are discussing with is contributing to it. Do you think that that person is close to Krishna? That is impossible. Because that person should stop you at that time and say, don't discuss about these material worldly things. Why? It is important not to discuss about these kind of things. If that person is given to material worldly ways of life, then they are not close to Krishna at all. So, with their minds fixed on me and their lives surrendered to me, conversing and enlightening each other about my glories. The beautiful stories of Krishna should always be discussed. My devotees ever remain contented and take delight in me. We are doing chapter 10, verse 10 of the Bhagavad Gita. On those ever united through meditation with me and worshipping me, With love, I confer that yoga of wisdom by which they come to me. So now we are coming to this devotee who is totally engrossed with Krishna all the time. He is always lost in Sri Krishna itself. Now remember, we are doing a very important scripture called the Bhagavad Gita. This Bhagavad Gita is the highest of the scriptures as far as we are concerned. Here Sri Krishna is very clearly saying how he looks at his devotee and how the devotee is supposed to look at him. So I am not creating anything from outside and saying, okay, this is what you got to do. Exactly what is written over here is what is being explained. So you have to always meditate on Krishna. So when a person keeps on totally engrossed and fallen in love with Krishna, totally immersed in his ways, then what happens? And he worships me. Worshipping me constantly. Always thinking about me, always meditating on me, always worshipping me at any given point in time. For such a person, Sri Krishna says, I confer the yoga of wisdom by which they come to me. So, even the yoga of wisdom, I will myself give it to them. My grace will flow on them and they will become wise. Now, what is he talking about? Do you remember in the previous verses, he has said, only the wise know me. Has he not mentioned in the previous verse, the wise know me very well? Because Krishna can never be understood by even the gods. Even the gods don't know Krishna. There is this verse where he says very clearly, let us go back to the verse to see that verse. It's verse number 2 from chapter 10. Neither gods nor the great sages know the secret of my birth, for I am the prime cause in all respect of gods as well as the great seers. So, if Krishna is himself telling you that nobody knows him that well, and here he says, only those people who are devoted and meditating on me and those who worship me with love, not with hatred, not with any other things, because you can even be close to Krishna if you hate him. Okay? Then you are not going to be with him in Goloka. No, that is different. Here the answer is you have to be in love with him. Worship him single-pointedly. When that happens, he will confer the yoga of wisdom. This yoga of wisdom is the buddhi, the way in which the mind is totally decimated, only the super intellect remains. That is the intellect connected with Sri Krishna. It is called divine intellect. So Sri Krishna gives you this divine intellect and he says, take this from me. And then they will come to me. We are doing chapter 10 of the Bhagavad Gita, verse 11. In order to bestow my compassion on them, I, dwelling in their heart, dispel their darkness born of ignorance by the illuminating lamp of knowledge. This verse clearly tells us that every person, no exceptions whatsoever, they are born of ignorance. The moment they are born, they are covered by Maya. This is what we have to know. The moment a person is born, they are covered by Maya, they are covered by ignorance. They think they are the child of the person who has given birth. Number one. They feel that their father and mother are there. Number two. Number three, they feel that they are human beings born on this earth to XYZ parents. Their thinking process is like that. They believe this is their world. I was born on this date. So they will celebrate their birthday from that day onwards. So celebrating their birthday that I was born on this date. Why? Because they are filled with ignorance. And this is where he says, they are filled with this ignorance. So their darkness is there, which is ignorance. Alright? So what does Krishna do? When you are the devotee of Krishna and when you are only talking to each other with the glories about him, when you have completely surrendered to him, when you are totally worshipping him with love, single pointed devotion to Sri Krishna, at that time Sri Krishna becomes very compassionate with you. And he says, I have compassion for you. And because you are such a beautiful person who has removed the veil of ignorance from his own eyes by self-effort, you have taken your veils off. Now you know who I am. You have become one with me. So I will remove this darkness. This Maya itself will go away. There will be no Maya in your life. Then when that happens, the illumination happens in that person's life, which means the wisdom comes to him and he knows me right in front like that. Okay, you can see me now. In true reality, it is not so easy to understand Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna comes under a very beautiful illusion. So the illusion is always in front of you. You think, okay, he's standing teda, he's having one flute in his mouth, he dresses like this, he's got one more punk there. All these things you feel, this is how Krishna is. No. That is only his material worldly way of looking at this world. The whole world looks at him like this. The reality about Krishna can be understood when his grace descends on you, when he is very compassionate with you, when you have become a devotee of his, totally surrendering unto him and becoming one with him. Everything that you have given it to him. And when that happens, you are united in meditation with him. That time Sri Krishna is very compassionate and he gives you this understanding through the wisdom which he passes on to you. He really passes on this wisdom to you. And then this light means the lamp of the illusory lamp, that the lamp which is illuminating you brightly, it comes in front of you and you can see Krishna in his grandeur and his glory. So Krishna can be understood by anybody who becomes his dearest devotee. So we have come to the end of verse 11. So we will stop over here.